It varies, but for the most part, the majority of the cases, if I'm interfacing with a threat actor in a ransomware case, it's through the dark web. So they'll leave behind a ransom note to the victim. On the note, I think one thing that's important for people who aren't familiar, the ransom note never actually contains the ransom amount. So you don't know, as a victim, you don't know how much they're asking for until you talk to them. And that's an important thing to know because it is a very important decision point. Do you talk to them just to find out how much they're going to ask? Are they going to ask for $5 or 5 million? You don't know, right? But on that ransom note, they'll have very specific instructions on how to get on the dark web and how to contact them. And usually it's a dark web website, looks kind of like a normal website, except the URLs, the website address is very funky. And then it's specific to your instance. That website exists solely for you. And when you go there, there'll be a box that's basically a chat window embedded in the browser. And that's where most of the dark web conversations happen with the threat actors. There are cases where we talk to them over anonymous email. There are cases where we talk to them over point-to-point communications like Tox or Jabber or something like that. But most of the time, it's on one of these dark web embedded chat rooms.
So one of the things you touched on is that there's a lot of misconception about this sort of how this all unfolds in the media, and it gets, I don't know I forget what word you used, but that idea that there is a sort of, it sounds like a text-based conversation in the simplest form.
It feels a lot like a SMS or like a iMessages conversation. Yeah.
And when does it come again? I'm just trying to imagine it. Does it you send a message and then you wait for a reply depending on where they are geographically, or do you get replies instantly? Or I guess it must vary a great deal. But is it a mixed bag of how fast these sort of
it's a mixed bag, but that's it's a mixed bag, but that's a really informed question because that's one of the things that I talk to the victims about. Obviously, having done, I don't know how many hundreds of these over the last 6 or 7 years, I think, I have a rough idea of how each threat actor group is going to behave if I know them, and I know many of them, so I can set those expectations. But one of the things that I tell the victim is that this incident is the most important thing in the world to you, not to the bad guys. They have multiple victims. They're not on the hook for anything, frankly. They can decide to take a vacation. We've had bad guys do that. Say, hey, it's Friday afternoon. We'll talk to you on Monday. We're going to the lake. They've done that. And so that's something that the victim has to understand is that, your expectation that they're going to immediately respond to anything you're going to say is not warranted at all. But most of the time the larger groups will have a group working in shifts to talk to the victims in our time zones. There are also a lot of cases where if the victim can afford it, we will purposefully time those messages and create a certain cadence to them on purpose as part of the strategy.
So you touched on two things just now that I think are betrayed by when you ask ChatGPT for the image of a hacker and you get a hoodie wearing, I guess teenagers. They could very well be teenagers, but the ransomware note comes with instructions, and they're highly organized, right? So they know that they might be trying to get money and extract the ransom for people who don't understand the dark web or technology at the same level as them. So they want to remove the friction with regard to the quote unquote purchase. And then also they take weekends off or work in shifts, or they understand that not everyone's on the same time zone and you have to sort of, overlap your shifts. That suggests to me that what I've been told by several people is that this is highly organized activity. It's not some sort of, willy-nilly kind of outfit that you're dealing with generally.
There are willy-nilly outfits, for sure, but most of the ransomware groups are pretty organized, and they function a lot like a business. They have, middle management and water cooler conversations, and they have bonuses and quotas and all of the things that you would expect from a